If your blood sugar is high in the morning, even before you eat anything, you are not alone. This is one of the most confusing experiences for many adults, especially after the age of 45. You wake up, you haven't had breakfast yet, you haven't consumed sugar or carbohydrates, and still the number on the meter feels higher than it should be. For many people, this creates frustration, fear, and self-blame. They assume they did something wrong the night before. They question their dinner, their snacks, or even their willpower. But in most cases, what is happening has very little to do with what you ate the night before. What is happening actually begins while you are asleep. During the night, your body is not resting in the way most people imagine. It is working quietly, constantly adjusting hormones, fluids, and energy levels to keep you alive and stable. And as morning approaches, your body begins preparing you to wake up. To do this, your system needs energy available the moment your eyes open, so your body uses a built-in mechanism designed to help you transition from sleep to wakefulness. That mechanism involves your liver. Your liver stores glucose for a reason. One of its jobs is to release small amounts of glucose into the bloodstream when your body needs energy. In the early morning hours, usually before sunrise, your liver begins releasing glucose to prepare you for the day ahead. This is a normal process. It happens in people without diabetes as well. It is part of how the human body has functioned for thousands of years. The difference is not the release of glucose itself. The difference is how your body responds to that release. As morning approaches, several natural hormones become more active. These hormones help raise alertness and signal the body that it is time to wake up. They also reduce insulin sensitivity slightly. In a well-balanced system, insulin responds smoothly. It gently moves glucose out of the bloodstream and into the cells where it can be used for energy. Blood sugar rises slightly, then stabilizes. But for many adults, especially after midlife, that response is slower or less efficient. When insulin sensitivity is reduced, glucose stays in the bloodstream longer than it should, and that is when morning blood sugar numbers appear higher than expected. This early morning rise in blood sugar is often referred to as the dawn effect. It is not a disease. It is not a failure. It is a physiological pattern that becomes more noticeable as metabolism changes with age. After 45, several subtle shifts occur in the body. Muscle mass gradually decreases. Muscle is one of the main tissues responsible for absorbing glucose. When muscle mass declines, the body has fewer places to send glucose efficiently. At the same time, years of small metabolic stressors accumulate. Sleep patterns change. Stress hormones remain elevated longer. Physical activity often decreases. All of these factors affect how insulin works in the morning. This is why morning blood sugar is often the most stubborn reading of the day. It is influenced by hormones, liver activity, and insulin sensitivity all at once. Many people are surprised to learn that they can eat carefully, avoid sweets, and still see high morning numbers. This happens because blood sugar regulation is controlled by systems, not just food. Another common misunderstanding is the belief that insulin is always the problem. In many cases, the body is still producing insulin. The issue is how effectively the cells respond to it. When insulin sensitivity is reduced, glucose has difficulty entering the cells. Instead of being used for energy, it remains circulating in the blood. This is why people may feel tired, foggy, or low on energy in the morning, even when blood sugar is high. The cells are not receiving the energy they need. This mismatch between blood sugar levels and cellular energy is one of the most frustrating aspects of morning glucose issues. On paper, it looks like there is plenty of fuel, but inside the cells, energy availability is limited. This is also why some people feel worse after breakfast, rather than better. When the first meal of the day arrives, the system is already under strain. Adding food on top of elevated morning glucose can intensify the response. This does not mean breakfast is bad. It means timing and metabolic readiness matter more than most people realize. Another important point is that morning blood sugar is not always reflected accurately by long-term averages. Some people have normal A1C results while still experiencing high fasting glucose. This creates confusion and often leads to delayed action. Doctors may say to monitor and wait, but during that waiting period, the body continues adapting in ways that are not always helpful long-term. Morning glucose patterns are often early indicators of insulin resistance. They appear before more obvious symptoms develop, and because they do not cause pain, they are easy to ignore. Many adults normalize subtle changes. They attribute fatigue to aging. They assume restless sleep is stress. They dismiss morning thirst or dry mouth. But these small signals are often connected. They reflect how the body is struggling to maintain balance during the early hours of the day. It is also important to understand that stress plays a role. Morning cortisol levels are naturally higher. Cortisol raises blood sugar as part of the wake-up process. When stress remains elevated, this effect becomes stronger. Poor sleep amplifies the problem. Short sleep duration and fragmented sleep reduce insulin sensitivity the next morning. Even one poor night can affect glucose control upon waking. This is why focusing only on food misses the bigger picture. Morning blood sugar is shaped by what happens during the night. It is shaped by hormones, sleep quality, stress, liver function, and metabolic flexibility. Blaming yourself does not help. Understanding the pattern does. When people learn that morning blood sugar is a process rather than a mistake, anxiety decreases. Clarity replaces fear. And clarity is what allows better decisions over time. This does not mean ignoring numbers. It means interpreting them correctly. A high morning reading is not a personal failure. It is feedback from the body. It is the body saying that its current systems need support, not punishment. That support begins with awareness. Knowing that glucose can rise before eating changes how you approach the day. It explains why certain strategies work better when applied consistently rather than reactively. Morning blood sugar is often the hardest to control, but it is also one of the most informative markers. It reveals how the body handles energy under hormonal pressure. It reveals how well insulin sensitivity is functioning at baseline. For many adults, improving morning glucose begins with understanding timing, not restriction. It begins with supporting metabolic flexibility, not chasing numbers. As you move forward, it helps to remember this. Your body is not working against you. It is adapting based on the signals it receives. When those signals change, the response changes too. Understanding why blood sugar rises before breakfast is the first step. Once that foundation is clear, everything else makes more sense. In the next step, attention turns to what happens immediately after waking. The first minutes of the day play a larger role than most people realize. And small choices during that window can influence how blood sugar behaves for hours afterward. That is where the real opportunity begins.